For this tutorial, you will need your selected yarn. I'm using Paintbox Simply Aran. I'll leave a link in the description box below of all the colours that I've used, as well as the link to the blog post with the written instructions for this video as well. I am using a 5mm crochet hook, and you will also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle. So don't forget, if you like this video, to share and give this video a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with all of my latest videos. Okay, let's get started. So I have used 4 colours for this square, but of course you can use whichever colours you like. We're going to start off by doing this square in the middle, which is just like your normal solid granny square, and then we'll start to do the mitered work. So if you want to go ahead and grab your first colour, and then we'll get going with these first 2 rounds. So we're going to begin by creating a slip knot, and you can do this in whichever method you prefer. And you can go ahead and insert your crochet hook. Now you can, if you want to make this with a magic circle, it's totally up to your individual preference. So with a chain, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch into that very first chain, and this creates our circle. But as I say, you can use a magic circle if you prefer. So for round 1, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. This counts as our first treble. So I'm using UK terms. In the US, this will be known as a double crochet. So we're going to work into the very center circle, and we're going to do an extra 2 treble crochets. So that's yarn over, insert into the circle, yarn over, pull through, you'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, you'll have 2 loops on the hook, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So that's 1, and again yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops on the hook, and yarn over, pull through 2. So from here, what we're going to do is chain 2, 1 and 2, and this is going to count as our first corner, and then we're going to do 3 trebles into this very center circle again. So we have 1, 2 and 3. So we have our side, our corner and our side. We'll chain 2 to make the next corner, 1 and 2, and then 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3. We're going to make a corner again, chain 2, and then we're going to do our last edge, and we're going to do 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3. We're going to finish off by creating a corner, 1 and 2, and we're going to join with a slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 that we did at the beginning of the round. So slip stitch, and then what we're going to do for round 2 is we're actually going to turn our work. So we're going to be working back the other way. We're going to start off by chaining 3, 1, 2, 3. As I say, this classes as our first treble or double crochet if you're in the US, and this is acting as if it's on top of this treble just here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work into the corner, which is what we do as standard, so you'll see this repeating throughout this pattern. We're going to do 2 trebles into that corner chain 2 space, 1 and 2. We're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, so that's the corner, and then we're going to do 2 trebles again into this very same space, 1 and 2. So those 2 trebles, chain 2 and 2 trebles into that corner chain 2 space create our corner. We're then going to do 1 treble crochet into the top of each of these trebles from the previous round. So yarn over into the top of that next stitch with a treble crochet, and then into the next stitch 2, and into the next stitch 3. And then you're going to do exactly the same thing that we've just done. So we're going to do the work corner space and then work across those 3 trebles. So go ahead, pause the video, rewind if you need to. You want to work your corner space and 3 trebles, corner space, 3 trebles, and then corner space, and then meet me back once you have your last 2 trebles left here. So for round 3, what we're going to do is turn our work so that the right side is facing us, and with colour B we're going to join into any corner space. So I'm just going to join this with a slip knot. You can join however you like, it's totally up to you. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and this is going to count as our first treble. Remember, I'm working in the UK term, so in the US that is double. And we're going to do another treble crochet into that corner space. We're then going to work 1 treble crochet into each stitch from the previous round, all the way across to the next corner space. So as I do this, I'm actually going to lay down my tail end from the previous row and work over that, so that I'm crocheting it in as I go along. So working up to that corner space, 2 left, 1 and 2. I'm going to let that tail end drop down now and I can sew in the rest. Now we're going to do exactly the same as what we've been doing in the corners. So I'm going to do 2 trebles, 1 and 2, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 2 trebles, 1 and 2. So now what I want you to do is pause the video and work 1 treble into each of these stitches from the previous row up to your next corner. We're actually going to do something slightly different in this corner. So pause the video, work your trebles, and then meet me back in just a moment. Now that you're in the corner, we're actually just going to do 2 treble crochets into this space, 1 and 2, because this is where our mitered pattern actually starts. So for round 4, we're going to turn our work and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This counts as a stitch, so we're going to treble crochet into each stitch all the way to the corner, and the first treble will be in this second stitch along because the chain 3 is counting as a stitch. So go ahead, pause the video, work your way to this corner and then meet me back once you're ready. Now that you're at the corner, you're going to do exactly the same as what you've done before. So 2 treble crochets, chain 2 and 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2, and then you're going to do 1 treble crochet into each stitch all the way along until you get to the end. So we are going to do a treble crochet into the turning chain from the previous round. So pause the video, work your way to the end and meet me back once you're ready. At the end of this row, we're going to tie off, turn our work, and then go ahead and connect colour C, so your third colour, into this stitch here that we've just tied off from. So we're going to take colour C and attach it to that stitch that we've just tied off from. You could do a colour change on that stitch if you want to, it's totally up to you. And we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. And then we're just going to do 1 treble crochet into each of those stitches all the way to the corner. So go ahead, pause the video, work those stitches and then meet me back in just a moment. Now that you've worked your way to the corner, we're going to do the same as before. In the corner, 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2 and 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2, followed by 1 treble crochet into each stitch all the way to the end, not forgetting that turning chain at the end. So go ahead, pause the video, work your way to the end, and then meet me back once you're ready. We're now on to round 6, and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn the work. I think you're probably getting the pattern by now. We are going to do 1 treble crochet into each stitch all the way along until you get to your corner. You're going to work that corner space with your 2 trebles, chain 2, 2 trebles, and then 1 treble crochet into each stitch all the way along. So go ahead and finish this round and then meet me back once you're ready. We've now completed round 6, and you can go ahead and snip off your yarn. And if you wanted to make this bigger, you could. You would just turn your work and you will continue to repeat rounds 5 and 6 until you get to the width of project that you like, or the how big a square that you want. We're now ready to add a border, and you want to have the right side facing you. You're going to take your colour D and you're going to attach this into the top of the last stitch from the previous round. So as we have been doing before, I'm going to attach my colour just there. So I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then I'm going to treble into the same stitch. So the first treble is going to be into that very same stitch. So that's a bit different to what we've done before. And then we're going to go ahead and treble crochet into each stitch all the way to the corner. So go ahead, pause the video, work your way to the corner, and then meet me back once you're ready. Now that you've worked your way across and you're in the corner, you're going to do exactly the same as what we have been doing in the corner. So those 2 trebles, chain 2, and then 2 trebles, 1 and 2. You're going to work 1 treble into each stitch all the way until the last stitch, so into this turning chain, and then meet me back once you're ready. Now that you've done 1 stitch all the way to the end, you're going to do another treble crochet into that very last stitch. You're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then do 2 more trebles into that same stitch, 1 and 2. So essentially we've just made a corner, even though there isn't really a corner space there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be working around each post. So we're working along this raw edge here. We're going to work around each post with 2 trebles, and then when we get to this section just here, we're going to work 1 stitch into there. What we want to do, so if you've made this bigger, what we essentially want to do is have the same amount of stitches on this side that we do here, and that's without counting the corners. So we're going to do 2 treble crochets around this post, 1 and 2, 2 treble crochets around the next post, 1 and 2, and around the next post, 1 and 2, and then this is the last post, 1 and 2. If at this point you're really unsure of where to work, the best thing to do is work out how many stitches you have on the edge. So I have 16, remember that's excluding these corner stitches. So I will have 16 across here. If you've made it bigger, you will have more. So the best thing to do is, again, forget about these corner stitches, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And then we want to make sure that we've got 16. So I'll count backwards from this side now because we're going to be working into these stitches. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that means that we're going to do 1 treble crochet into this corner space. So into the corner space and then into each stitch along this solid section of the granny square. So go ahead, pause the video, work your way to the end, make sure that you've got the right amount of stitches, and then meet me back once you're ready. So we're at the corner again now, and we're going to do those 2 trebles, 1 and 2, chain 2, 1, 2, and then 2 trebles, 1 and 2, and we're just going to essentially do exactly the same as what we've just done before, but the other way round. So we're going to do 1 treble crochet into each of these stitches. We're going to do 1 treble crochet into the corner space, and then 2 treble crochets around the posts of the stitches along the edge. So pause the video, work your way until you get to your last post, and I'll show you how to finish off to create this corner. Now that you've worked your way across to that last post, we're going to do 2 treble crochets into that very first stitch where we did our first 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2, and then you're going to join with a slip stitch into the very first stitch and tie off. So there you go, that is the solid mitered granny square. You just need to sew in your ends now, and you will probably want to block these ones just because it might look slightly distorted on this edge. So just go ahead and block that and it will just sort itself out. And then of course, if you have 2, you can join these together however you like. You could do them different ways, it's totally up to you. But there is the solid mitered granny square tutorial. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and I shall see you again next time. Bye.